Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 44. All right, so I have a couple of articles tonight. Obviously, one of them is going to deal with Prince Andrew. We have to get into that, right? Because it was, like I said yesterday, before all these pundits came out and said it, right as the interview happened, I told you it was a car crash. I didn't watch the interview until after I had recorded the episode, so I watched the interview, and oh my gosh, you could just tell something was really not right with this guy. This was an absolute positive train wreck. This was, almost one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I thought reading about it in print was bad. Oh my lord! So make sure if you get a chance, watch that interview. It's worth the time invested to watch it for sure. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But what we also have going on here is we have a letter from Kevin McCarthy from one of the House Republicans. He wrote a letter to ABC News and telling them they must explain why they spiked their story about Epstein. So once again, like I always say, suspend your politics here. Whoever's working towards bringing these people to justice is an ally of ours, right? I don't care if they have an R next to their name, a D, whatever it may be, whoever it may be. If they're looking for justice in this case, they're certainly an ally of ours, and we should listen to what they have to say at the very least and give them a fair shot to do the right thing. And of course, if and when they don't do the right thing, well, scorched earth for those cats like everybody else gets on this podcast. Because people like this, they're just going to keep doing the things that they do unless they're stopped, right? They don't just wake up one day and they're like, yeah, raping kids isn't a good idea. We're just going to quit with that stuff. No, these people are sick. They have to be stopped, right? So if powerful people in our government, like Kevin McCarthy, want to step up and say, hey, look, this is just beyond the usual corruption in D.C. This is beyond the usual corruption in politics in general. So if he wants to step up and try and get to the bottom of this, hey, look, more power to you, sir. So let's see what this article has to say. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and two other top Republicans sent a letter to ABC News on Sunday demanding the network explain why it quashed ABC News anchor Amy Robach's story that would have exposed allegations against the now-deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein 3 years ago. Well, that's, like I said, that's great, and I'm happy that they're getting proactive now, but why not send a letter to the state prosecutors in Florida, right? Like the story we talked about last night on the Daily Drop. Those people they had a chance to really stop this guy. And even going back further when there was allegations. So there's plenty of blame to go around, but ABC definitely has some explaining to do. And I think that this is a step in the right direction for some accountability. The letter to ABC News President James Goldston was first reported by Megyn Kelly, formerly of Fox News. House Foreign Affairs Committee Ranking Member Mike McCall of Texas and House Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Doug Collins of Georgia also signed it. Video captured Robach on a hot mic claiming higher-ups at her network killed the story. The footage was published earlier this month by Project Veritas, whose controversial founder, James O'Keefe, has described himself as a guerrilla journalist. The video included Robach saying ABC refused to air an interview she conducted with one of Epstein's victims. I've had the story for 3 years. We would not put it on the air, Robach said on the hot mic. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. I referred to that last night as well. Well, yeah, nobody knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. Durr. This is in 2015 they're saying this. What you really mean is, ABC, well, we can't get our buddy George Stephanopoulos in trouble, so we're not going to run this story. And plus, we want to have access to the royals, right? We have to know what they ate for breakfast. We want to know what the kids were doing. We need to know what kind of makeup they're wearing. I mean, come on, enough already with the royals. I'm not going to go on and on about that yet in this article, but I'm sure I'll wax poetic in the next article about those people. She also said she tried to get the interview on the air for 3 years to no avail. Less than 2 weeks after the footage was published, the House Republicans wrote the letter asserting what appears to have been presented to Ms. Robach as first-hand evidence of human trafficking. Not appears, that's exactly what it was. So once again, where is the RICO case? Where are the conspirators? We all know that Lady G. Maxwell's going to turn up dead. Come on, guys. I feel like the California Psychic Network all wrapped into one with Mrs. Cleo at this point, with a little touch of Nostradamus. She is either A, going to be hidden forever by whatever intelligence agency she's being handled by right now, or she's going to get whacked. She is going to get clipped. Oh yeah, she had suicide by insert whatever kind of inane way here that they'll want us to believe. They noted they were deeply concerned that this victim, in search of justice, went to ABC News, provided information and an interview, and then ABC News chose to bury the truth. This was a decision that Ms. Robach alluded was due to protecting powerful people or financial interests. Well, yeah, powerful people for sure. Why don't you guys just go take a look at the guest list from that party when Andrew was there? All right, just take a look at all the people who were that were at the house that night, and one by one, those are all material witnesses now. I mean, do I have to do your job for you? Right? What if the glove don't fit, you must acquit? What am I? Bob Kardashian? No. You know what? I don't know how to navigate the law, but I do know right from wrong, and I do know that you guys need to do your jobs, because, bro, this is just absolutely ridiculous. What powerful people are you protecting? Why? Who are these powerful people? Well, let's start with the people that were hanging out with Epstein. This is pretty, what is Detective Work 101. It's not being done because they don't want it to be done. And they don't want it to be done because, well, we all know why. What I'm hoping for is that there's been a crack in the intelligence agencies over the last few years with their nonsense. They've been caught red-handed with some crazy stuff in the last few years, and we all know that they're getting the screws put to them right now. So hopefully that there's enough of a crack that they're not able to exert enough power to really kill this story. Robach admitted the authenticity of the video, which has not been independently verified by Fox News, but dismissed the notion of unethical journalism. Yeah, of course you did. You got to cover it up, right? People got to believe you. Isn't that the whole entire point of being a journalist? If nobody believes what you're saying, if you have no credibility, well, hey, who's going to listen to your show or watch your TV show? Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because there's a good portion of this country that doesn't want to know the truth. There's a good portion of this country and the world, I guess I should say, although I guess I can't really speak too much on that considering, I'm not this worldly traveler or anything, but when you talk to people, people want the truth, but they're not getting it, and a lot of people just roll with what they hear on TV, and they take it for fact. It's for, that's written on the golden tablet. We saw it on the big news. That's written on the tablet. They're not unethical. They would never lie to us. Meanwhile, half of them are working as shills for the CIA, reporting stories, and then they use the circular journalism. So one person gets the story, and then they all source that one story and act like there's a whole bunch of different anonymous sources, when really it was just one source. And that's how they roll now. That's considered journalism now. But they couldn't run this story. They couldn't corroborate the story. There was not enough evidence. Come on, folks, not enough evidence. We can't run this. We're busy right now trying to divide the nation. Stop getting in our way. Stop getting in our way with these real stories. With these dinner table issues. Stop it. We're busy destroying the country. We want you to hate your neighbor. We don't have time for you guys to actually read the real news of what's going on and the real things that are important. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Epstein accuser Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient corroborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about our allegations, Robach said in a statement provided to Fox News earlier this month. What does that mean? Have you guys turned on the TV lately and seen some of the stuff they run? Pretty sure you don't have corroborating evidence for that stuff. I mean, then again, ABC did show bombs going off in Kentucky and say it was, Syria that there was bombings occurring. So take that for what it's worth. McCarthy and the other Republicans wrote in the Sunday letter, although it is unclear whether anyone thought to alert authorities to further examine these deeply disturbing allegations, it is clear that ABC's news enabling of Mr. Epstein has consequences. Fewer victims willing to come forward to bring perpetrators of this modern-day slavery to justice and, more grievously, the possibility that any number of minors could have been spared from human trafficking over the past 3 years. Hold on. You guys ready? That's me clapping. All right? Hallelujah. About time somebody says what it is. Modern-day slavery, human trafficking, and calling them out on being enablers. I don't care if you're a news organization or just a private citizen. If you have information about something like this and you don't bring it to the attention of the authorities, you're a sick bastard. You're just as guilty, in my opinion. And I know my opinion and, $1.75 will get you a cup of coffee, right? But at the same time, it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that people aren't more enraged by this. I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about you folks. I know that anybody tuning into this podcast is just as enraged as I am. I could tell by the emails. I could tell by your emails how aggravated you are by this story, how upset you are by this story, how mad you are by this story. And you're not alone. Everywhere I go now, I see it. Everybody I talk to, people at the grocery store, etc., etc. Every single place I go, people are asking about this story. People are talking about this story now. And it's really scaring the hell out of the elites, as you can see with Prince Andrew's interview. Do you really think he would ever give that interview if he didn't feel like his back was against the wall? The 3 Republicans wrote that they were requesting more information from ABC News. They asked if the network will provide Congress with the interview Robach conducted with the victim, what ABC News learned about Epstein after Robach first presented her story to executives, and who was involved in deciding the story was not of public interest, as well as any rationale for that decision. I hope if they do this, let's make the whole entire hearing public. Why does it have to be behind closed doors? Let's make it public. Let's put it on C-SPAN. And let's see these guys go to work. Do the people's work for once. Wouldn't that be nice, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? Just like if they would get to work on some infrastructure in the nation. Wouldn't that be grand? ABC did not immediately respond to Fox News' request for comment. Earlier this month, responding to the published video, an ABC News spokesperson told Fox News the Epstein story wasn't fit to air. The Epstein story wasn't fit to air. A story about an elite, quote-unquote, financier, we all know pedophile, who was raping kids wasn't a story that was fit to air. All right. Who made that decision? Whoever made that decision should not have a job. At the time, not all of our reporting met our standards to air, but we have never stopped investigating the story. Ever since, we've had a team on this investigation and substantial resources dedicated to it, the spokesperson said. That work has led to a 2-hour documentary and a 6-part podcast that will air in the new year. Oh, a whole 6-part podcast, huh? Boy, you guys are really diving headfirst into the fray and doing the Lord's work, aren't you? You're really standing up for these victims with all those resources you have. We're a self-funded operation around here, all right? And I have over 60 episodes. Because this case matters. This case matters. If I had the resources of ABC News, forget about it. These people would have nowhere to hide. If I had the resources of ABC News, I'd have private investigators tracking down Maxwell, and every single step of her life would be being recorded by news people and my hired investigative team. Because that's how they usually do it, right? Why do they do that in other cases that are nowhere near as important as this case, but not in this case? Ask yourself that. And once again, suspend your politics for a second. Why did they send a SWAT team to arrest Roger Stone? All right, a SWAT team. Is that necessary? Pretty sure the guy would have just given up. Where's he going to go? But you send a SWAT team in to get him. But Ghislaine Maxwell's running free. Jeffrey Epstein he was able to do whatever he wanted. War criminals running around in this country, no big deal. The selective outrage as well by a certain class in this country, the ruling class of this country, choosing when all of us should be outraged, when in reality, we should all be outraged at their behavior on a regular basis. Because remember, it's not you against your neighbor. It's not Republican against Democrat. It's none of that jazz. It's us against the incredibly few disgusting elite people who believe that they are in control of the whole entire shebang, and up to this point pretty much have been. ABC later identified who the network had accused leaked the footage and reportedly worked with CBS, her current employer, to get her fired. ABC News' initial response and subsequent actions reveal their priority is to identify and hold accountable the individual who released the video to the public, McCarthy wrote in Sunday's letter. We believe that uncovering the source of the information is incomparably less important than the possibility of exposing the source of a human trafficking operation. The letter concluded it was imperative that the public be assured newsroom decisions regarding exposing human trafficking are not tempered by financial interests or outside forces. Epstein was found dead this past August in his Manhattan prison cell while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Prosecutors alleged that the convicted sex offender paid girls as young as 14 hundreds of dollars for massages before he molested them in his homes in New York and Palm Beach, Florida between 2002 and 2005. Well, look at that, huh? Seems like a few people in Congress are finally stepping up to the plate. It'll be nice to see what they actually accomplish. Or, once again, if they're just spinning their wheels, doing some lip service, because let's be real. That's how a lot of this goes with Congress. They'll have their show trials, they'll have their big meetings, and they'll bring people up in front of them. But what really happens? Whatever changes? Who's ever held accountable? All their commissions and the money spent on this, that, the other thing, and we still get 27 pages of the 9/11 Commission report redacted for 18 years or whatever it was. They think we're stupid, and we fall right into their hands. I mean, we fall right into their trap. We fall right into their trap over and over and over again. All right, our next article is about our good buddy Prince Andrew. I know everybody wants to talk about this guy and his nonsense, and I'll tell you what, me too. This is the most important story in the case right now, in my opinion. I think that the Prince Andrew situation has... This case has the ability to turn this whole entire thing on its head and bring everything down around everyone's ears. So let's jump into this article and see what it has to say. Prince I didn't party or do PDAs Andrew is pictured doing plenty of both at wild parties on the French Riviera in 2007. And he looks a wee bit sweaty too. So that's the headline from this Daily Mail article. So let's see what they have to say about our good buddy Prince Andrew. Like I was saying before, there's new footage being shown of a sweaty Prince Andrew in the late 2000s. This stuff was unearthed just hours after his interview. So let's dive into the article and see what they got to say. Never before seen video footage showing a sweaty Prince Andrew being openly affectionate with a bevy of young women while partying in the late 2000s has been unearthed just hours after his car crash interview with the BBC. The prince insisted in his sit-down with Emily Maitlis that he did not sweat or indulge in public displays of affection with women while defending himself against claims he slept with Jeffrey Epstein's sex slave Virginia Roberts. All right, well, that's out the window with these pictures. These pictures of some, I'll post the link obviously in the description so you guys can follow the link and check out the pictures yourselves. There's a picture of a girl that looks like she's, I don't know, maybe early 20s with her mouth wide open, her tongue out like she's about to lick him, and Prince Andrew has a smile from ear to ear like this dude just got the happiest anyone's ever been. Unbelievable. He seemed to cast doubts on the authenticity of a photo which shows him with his arm around Miss Roberts' waist. However, the newly discovered footage published exclusively by the Mail Online shows Andrew looking disheveled and sweaty as he wanders around several raucous parties on the French Riviera. Another thing, too, in the interview, he's talking about, oh, that picture must have been taken upstairs at Ghislaine Maxwell's house. But I could have never been in that picture because I'd never go upstairs. Well, how'd you know it was taken upstairs then, pal? Photos also show him embracing a string of beautiful women publicly, appearing not to care about the cameras tracking his every move. Filmed during the prince's midlife crisis period, the footage appears to show the Duke of York living up to his controversial Randy Andy nickname. That's another thing, right, guys? This guy's nicknamed Randy Andy, and we're supposed to think that he's not into PDAs, that he doesn't drink, that he doesn't get into, situations with young women. Come on. Nobody's buying it. Nobody believes you. In one clip from July 2008, just weeks after his disgraced friend Epstein admitted trafficking an underage girl, Andrew, now 59, is seen leaving a party with a troupe of beautiful women. That night, he was also filmed chatting with Polish-born socialite Beta Bowman, who went on to make headlines when she was arrested for shoplifting an $11,000 fur-lined scarf in New York. Sounds like an average day in New York City, right? I'm gonna head down to Manhattan. I'll bop around a little bit. Then I'm gonna lift myself a nice little fur-lined scarf. So he's hanging out with kleptomaniacs as well as hanging out with pedophiles. This guy really sure has sound judgment. In another infamous set of pictures taken on the French Riviera in July 2007, the prince looks wild-eyed as he parties with American socialite Chris Von Aspen. The blonde interior designer can be seen licking Andrew as the pair cavorted together. More clips from 2008 show him wandering around a party thrown by wine tycoon Claude Ott, heading to the dance floor with two women as techno music plays out. The prince appears to look worse for wear as he enjoys the party, hair disheveled and shirt untucked. A photographer captured a snap of him dancing at close quarters at the party with a woman named, at the time, as Libyan model Nadia Bona. The previous summer, Andrew was pictured cozying up to Canadian model Pascal Bourbeau at a bash he attended alongside his eldest daughter, Princess Beatrice. For a guy that doesn't like public affection, folks, he sure is engaged in a lot of it. You know what else I think he's engaged in a lot of? A lot of BSing the rest of the public, because this guy does not seem to be a very trustworthy man. All right? After this interview, how can anyone believe this man? He appears to put his hand on Pascal's rear as they stand close together at the home of billionaire fire extinguisher magnate Tony Murray. Oh my gosh, there's a bunch of pictures too, so make sure you click on the link and check them out. At one point, Andrew was pictured tensely looking at his mobile phone alongside a bald man who was described by onlookers as his fixer. Later, he headed to a marina at Murray's mansion and got on a boat accompanied by 5 or 6 women, while Beatrice, now 31, left separately, according to a witness. A former Saint-Tropez reveler revealed these were really crazy years for Andrew. He was clearly having a full-blown midlife crisis. He would have been 47 or 48 at the time, divorced from Sarah Ferguson, and basking in the attention he got from young women. Basking in the attention he got from young women. But he had nothing to do with any of this, guys, all right? Come on, he never thought it was weird to see Jeffrey Epstein hanging around a bunch of young girls. Yeah, of course he didn't, because he was doing the same thing. Birds of a feather. These were private parties held at mansions, so I guess he felt like he could let his guard down. Things can get quite loose in Saint-Tropez. There were lots of beautiful young women looking for rich men. People would often go off to the toilets to do drugs or for oral sex. That was the best time to party in Saint-Tropez. Social media hadn't really taken off, and most people didn't have cameras on their phone yet, so people could just go and have fun. Lots of the girls gravitated towards Andrew. Royalty has that effect on the kind of women who flock to Saint-Tropez. Yeah, the quote-unquote Instagram model types. The kind of girl that ends up over in the Arab Emirates, the United Arab Emirates, over in Abu Dhabi, and those kind of girls. Those are the ones that are hanging out in Saint-Tropez, right? What is Prince Andrew doing with these young girls? I thought he doesn't do that sort of thing. Got to answer some questions there, buddy. Andrew's partying days have come under increased scrutiny recently due to his controversial relationship with Epstein, who killed himself aged 66, allegedly, in a New York jail cell in August after being arrested on federal trafficking charges. Following Epstein's death, the prince released a statement denying he ever saw or suspected any criminal behavior by the wealthy financier, by the pedophile. However, he has faced a barrage of claims, including from Miss Roberts, who accused the Duke of York of sleeping with her while she was underage. The row was thrown further into the spotlight last night after Andrew's car crash BBC interview. The no-holds-barred interview saw the prince quizzed on his relationship with Epstein, and he again denied ever having sex with the financier's sex slave, Miss Roberts. The Duke faced a flurry of questions about his links to the pedophile, who was found dead at age 66 earlier this year in a New York prison cell while being held on sex trafficking charges. Andrew maintained he does not recall meeting Miss Roberts and said he did not spend time with her at Tramp nightclub in London on March 10, 2001, after which she claims the pair first had sex. He denied he slept with her on 3 separate occasions, saying the encounter in 2001 did not happen because he had taken his daughter Princess Beatrice to Pizza Express in Woking for a party, and they spent the rest of the day together. As part of his defense, he disputed claims that he was sweating on the night he partied with Miss Roberts. Andrew said, "There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat or I didn't sweat at the time. I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I am starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I don't do it, that I didn't do it." Sure look like you're sweating in these pictures, sir. Definitely look like you're sweating in these pictures. A sweaty Prince Andrew in July 2008 dancing with Libyan model Nadia Bojana at the party in Saint-Tropez. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. He added, I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm convinced that I was never in tramps with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story, one of which is that I don't know where the bar is in tramps. I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in tramps whenever I was there. The latest video and pictures have put Andrew under yet more scrutiny. Pictures from top model Heidi Klum's 2000 Halloween party show him hanging out with Epstein's alleged co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. The pair can be seen together at the Hookers and Pimps themed party in New York City. So the Prince of England is going to a Hookers and Pimps themed party in New York City, right? That's something you eat some Molly and you dress up like somebody who's into some sadism or some BDSM, and you go to one of these parties. You're the Prince of England, you don't go to this party. Maxwell, the daughter of disgraced British press baron Robert Maxwell wears a bleach blonde wig, midriff-bearing top, and gold pants as she chats to Andrew. The now infamous picture showing the Prince and Maxwell with alleged teen sex slave Virginia Roberts is thought to have been taken the following year by Epstein in London. So the following year, okay? So he was sweating then. Virginia, 35, alleges Epstein and Maxwell, 57, directed her to have sex 3 times with Andrew, claims that both he and Maxwell deny. Donald Trump and his then-girlfriend Melania Noss were also pictured posing with Klum at the party. In the photos from the Halloween party, Andrew can be seen chatting to Klum, now 46. In another infamous set of pictures taken on the French Riviera in July 2007, the prince looks wild-eyed as he parties with American socialite Chris Van Aspen. Look, I'll just straight up say it. It looks like he's on ecstasy. His eyes are... Look, I grew up in Las Vegas, all right? This dude looks like he is zipped, ripped, clipped, and launched into orbit. The blonde interior designer can be seen licking the prince as the pair cavorted together. An onlooker said Chris was buzzed from drinking and had met Andrew before, so she approached him. She was a real party girl back then and went to all the celebrity parties in New York, LA, Saint-Tropez, and Monaco. Chris later claimed she hooked up with Andrew, and you can see in the pictures that he was having a great time with her. He had a wild look in his eye. You can see that in the pictures, too. Yikes. Chris was going out with Prince Albert of Monaco's right-hand man, Bruno Philippont, and got into trouble with him when the pictures came out. Yeah, I would think so. If that was my girlfriend and I saw these pictures, I wouldn't be too happy about it either. I mean, are you kidding me right now? So make sure, like I said, make sure you check out the link in the description and you go look at these pictures because it'll add some context to what I was talking about from this article. And you can see in these pictures, the dude's sweating in these pictures. Did he think that these were never going to come out? What was he thinking? Is he that panicked that he's going to get nailed for this? I mean, folks, could this guy truly get nailed for this? Talk about historic. Talk about historic and a huge victory for the victims if this man, has to face justice. Has to sit down with an actual, official from the courts. Somebody that has him under oath and where it means something. Not in the media where you're trying to rebuild your image, although it was a car crash, but under oath. All right, folks, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I want to give a shout out to Maddie. She sent me a great email. I haven't replied to it yet, but I'm going to get to that tonight, Maddie. I'll make sure you have that by the morning. It's a very in-depth email, pretty long email, and she brings up some great points. So I'm definitely going to get to that email tonight. If you guys want to support the show, the link for the GoFundMe will be in the description. You can click on that, support the show that way, or just share the show with your friends. Something as simple as that helps out a lot as well, too. So, yeah, and if you want to contact me, the email address is bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI @protonmail.com with any questions, comments, any leaks, anything you want to talk about with the show, any leads, hit me up and we'll get rocking. I try to answer every single email I get. Sometimes, it'll take me a couple hours to get back to you guys, but I have 100% response rate so far, so I plan on keeping that. Anyway, I really appreciate all the support. Thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, we're getting closer, folks. It's like a football game, right? We're on a nice long drive here. So it's going to take some time, but when we punch the ball over the goal line and get into that end zone finally, and we get some justice, and these girls get some justice, and maybe things will actually fall into place, starting with this interview with Andrew. We'll see. All right, folks, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll do it all over again.